Good morning. As we come on the air this morning, the stunning events of last evening, the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump at a political rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, have shaken, angered, and scared many Americans. They've also upended an already turbulent and emotional presidential campaign. Saturday night, President Biden condemned the shooting.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this.
In addition to the alleged shooter, one attendee was killed and 2 others critically injured. And we will try to get answers to the many questions we have about security for the former president, as well as the motive of the 20-year-old shooter. Our Scott MacFarlane was at that rally, along with 2 of our campaign reporters, and that is where we begin.
6 minutes after the former president took the stage in Butler, Pennsylvania yesterday evening, shots rang out.
Take a look at what happened.
Former president was quickly rushed off the stage by his Secret Service detail, blood clearly visible on his face. Shaken yet defiant, Mr. Trump raised his fist several times as he was taken from the scene, shouting, "Fight." He was taken to a nearby hospital and following his release issued a social media post saying he'd been shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of his right ear. He said he heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. The shooter was shot and killed by Secret Service snipers from his location atop a shed outside the security perimeter, but between 150 and 300 feet from the stage where the former president stood, with dozens of supporters in stands behind him and beside him. In addition to Mr. Trump's injury, 1 man was killed and 2 critically wounded. CBS News spoke to an eyewitness who'd been seated behind the former president and said he administered CPR on the victim who died.
Somebody over there was screaming, "He's been shot, he's been shot." So I made my way over. I said, "I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you." The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There was lots of blood, and he had brain matter there.
Law enforcement has identified the shooter as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of nearby Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, seen here accepting his high school diploma in 2022. One attendee told the BBC that he'd seen the man and notified law enforcement on the scene prior to the shooting.
We noticed the guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof. We could clearly see him with a rifle, absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, "Hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle."
The motive of the shooter is unknown and under investigation. The 20-year-old registered Republican, for somebody his age, had no large-scale social media presence. We do know an event that was supposed to be uniquely secure resulted in the wounding of a former president, the death of a rally-goer, injuries of others, and untold damage, Margaret, to the fabric of the country.
Scott MacFarlane, and we're glad that you are safe. He's joining us from Butler County there, and we want to turn now to CBS Homeland Security reporter Nicole Sganga. Nicole, I know you've been working the phones to understand the latest with the investigation. What do you know?
20-year-old Thomas Crooks, and right now FBI and other federal law enforcement poring over the internet trying to find any online footprint of this suspect, this individual, with no apparent criminal history, no derogatory information, no foreign nexus to terrorism, Margaret. There is a weapon, a semi-automatic weapon, AR-15, high-powered rifle that the suspect was using. At this point, law enforcement suggesting no ties to another active plot or attack or another individual, but they are still searching to ensure that this was in fact a lone actor. He fired between 6 and 8 rounds. Part of the reason why we didn't hear the suspect's name right away, he was not carrying an ID on him. So FBI, other federal law enforcement had to run facial recognition tests as well as DNA tests to confirm his identity. One important point, Margaret, We are told by law enforcement officials that there was a tip to Butler County Sheriff's Office regarding this suspicious individual when the rally was just getting started, that bystanders had seen this individual walking around, that had reported this suspicious person. Officials lost sight of where he was. Once he did emerge on that shed, of course.
요가 됐어 나. 완전 너. 뭐이? 있다.
저게 저거
교다서 오늘
제발 못돼